Gary Potter was born in the southern Sydney suburb of Kogarah in the year 1954 to parents Arthur and Helen. Gary was one of 4 children, older brother Alan and younger siblings Gail and Graham. Born in Australia, his father Arthur was raised by his single mother, whereas Helen had immigrated from Malta in 1928, age 1. Gary grew up with a strict moral code. Due to his father's military background, he learned early on that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Helen's early experiences in Australia were tough. Being labelled a wog and arriving in arduous times during the Depression, work was scarce. Her family set up life in Bondi, only getting by Helen's father offering his handyman services door to door. The European migration total for 1928 alone was 94,336. Although this number seems significant, there is no doubt that arriving in a new country in difficult times, many settlers would have felt a part of a minority. In 1970, Gary's life in Australia was moved to Malaysia. His father was working for the Commonwealth Government and had been sent to maintain the Butterworth Air Base. He completed his Year 10 studies abroad at the Royal Australian Air Force School, alongside other children whose parents were maintenance workers, pilots, and senior officers in the Defence Force. Gary reflects on his time in Malaysia fondly. Learning about the country's rich cultural heritage was a standout for him. Australia's relationship with Malaysia has grown in depth and quality. In 2015, we celebrated the 60th anniversary of diplomatic presence in the country. Returning to Australia and completing his final years of studies on home soil, Gary, aged 19, was offered a job working for Dunlop in Bougainville, Papua New Guinea, a remote mining town with no TV or radio and not much else to do other than work, grueling 12-hour days, 6 days a week. Working with 3,000 other men from all over the world, Gary describes it as a magnificent time in his life, exhibiting the down-to-earth, hard yakka work ethic in which he represents. In 1975, following in his father and brother's footsteps, Gary joined the Army Reserve, starting out as a private and working his way up to become an infantry captain specialising in combat intelligence and nuclear and biochemical defence. Gary travelled through Europe, worked in the UK and within the UK Army in Denmark. He enjoyed his time in the Defence Force, working alongside like-minded academics in the University Regiment, gaining skills in bushcraft, combat and engineering. Gary described his experiences travelling overseas as people are generally the same worldwide. He believes the wealthy, bureaucratic and religious are those who have the power to drive a culture, to have a general perspective or point of view. He believes this is what maintains and creates culture. However, what is key is changing the negative in a culture to a positive. Jack Meserow theorises that this can be achieved in culture, and he calls it perspective transformation. I believe that Australia over the years has come a long way, shifting perspectives and becoming a much more accepting nation, where many still migrate due to our land of opportunities.